again. Right, here we go. We're working today on our back. So before we do so, let's see what the positivity has in store for us today. Let's see what this is going to be. Okay, expansiveness. So that's great because working on our back, on our flexibility and strength in our back, and some of those moves require us to focus upon and to give some kind of thought and effort into expanding this heart space. So when we flex into what could be called a back bend, so showing you from the side, so when our back begins to bend, our heart opens, the chest opens, and it creates this expansiveness, and the expansiveness in this space for our breath, which is key. Breath is key and underpins everything. So yeah, let's hold on to that for today. Expansiveness is the way forward for today's session. Okay, as always, just settling in to begin with. So just bringing yourself away from the support of the back of the chair. Feet hip width apart, knees hip width apart. And let's lift those toes, spread the toes wide, press the toes down. Good, and just settling there. Close those eyes for a moment while we just prepare for our physical practice today. Bringing our inner focus down to the root, down to our base in connection with the seat of the chair. And grounding here, finding that stability and the support from this space, from this connection, and then beginning to draw the breath up through the spine as we lengthen through the spine all the way, even through the back of the neck and up through the crown of the head. Expanding as we breathe in, and then feeling the fall of the chest, the fall of the belly as we breathe out. So breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the nose and out through the nose. So maybe today taking that sense of gathering and lifting, fullness of breath as we expand and lowering down, settling down, grounding down. So using the hands to scoop, lift the breath, lift the body, a rising energy, and at the turn of the breath, bringing that energy back down, grounding, stable, and in your own time. So I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to breathe in my own pattern and bring my hands up as I breathe in and down as I breathe out through the nose. Expanding in all parts, all areas of the body. So as we breathe in, we expand through the belly, through the sides of the body, the ribs. We expand through the chest, the front and the back of the chest. So the back of the body is included in our breathing. On the next breath, see if you can really focus on breathing into the back. So take your internal gaze right to the base of your spine, but the back, so right down at the tailbone, and draw your breath up through the back of the body, right up through to the back of the neck and into the crown here, and then down the back of the body, and see if you can expand in that way. Just a couple more breaths now before we begin. So just moving with your own body in the time and pace of your own breath. Of course, if you want to pause the video and continue to do a little bit more breathing before we begin the physical practice, then please feel free to do so. Otherwise, if you're ready, making this next out breath your final breath before you open your eyes and bring yourself to a point at which you're ready to begin. Okay, let's just roll the shoulders around a couple of times today before we get going. Just circle them in one direction and then the other. If you want to do them individually, then feel free. Or the other way, forwards and backwards. And then if you want to, maybe a few little shoulder shrugs before we start. Okay, so taking hold of the side of the chair that you're sitting on and breathing in as you raise the other arm up to the sky, and we'll just take a little side stretch here. And coming all the way back. Now we're going to move with the breath today. We're not holding this. So we breathe in as we expand, and we breathe out as we reach over to the side, and then breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in as we lift. Breathe out as we stretch. Breathe in as we lift, and breathe out as we lower. And again, breathe in as we stretch. Breathe out as we lower. Breathe in as we lift, and breathe out as we lower down. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, and settling just there. Lovely, so stretching through the side of the body. Okay, so we're going to come into some twists. Now we've done a couple of versions before, so you can choose the version that suits you best. So here's your version 1. Breathe in and lift up through the crown of the head, and as you breathe out, we simply turn to the side. Now if you want to, you can take your arm across to the opposite leg and just use that connection to bring you into a little bit of a stronger twist. But remember, we're working with our own body within the range of movement that suits us, and it doesn't really matter what anybody else is doing. So just feel into what you can feel in your body that's unique to you, and just move around just a little bit at a time with the breath as it suits you. And coming back now to center, really nice and slowly. So we move in slowly, we hold it for a little while, and then we move out again slowly. So breathing in, lifting up, and as we breathe out, just turning to the side. So again, if you want to take your hand across the body and place the back of the hand against the leg, and you can use that as a little lever to assist you in moving around a little further into your twist. So once you're in your twist, each time you breathe in, lift up through the crown of the head, and each time you breathe out, just relax and see if there's any extra space that may have been created between the vertebrae, so that you can ease your way a little further comfortably into that twist. If it doesn't feel right to go any further, then please don't. If you need to ease off at any point, then you can, of course, ease off there. So coming back to center, I'm going to do that again. If you want to bring your hand to your temple and raise the foot as we did in that previous twist in the core work that we did, then feel free to do that if that feels right for you today. If it doesn't, then keep that just the same as the twist that we've just done. So coming back to center now and slowly rotating around the opposite direction, lifting if you want to bring the core into this as well, and slowly coming back to center. Alright, so we're going to use one of the legs, it doesn't really matter which one, as the supporting leg. So spreading the toes wide, pressing down, using that as a really strong base and a platform, so that you can begin to lift the knee and take your hands around the shin and see if you can just squeeze that in towards the chest. And as you do so, just bring the forehead down towards the knee. And release. And as you release, lift up through the crown again, and pressing down now into that new supporting leg, lifting the opposite leg, taking front of the leg there, the shin, squeezing the knee into the chest, and then rounding through the spine, bringing your forehead down towards your knee. And coming back to center. We'll do that one more time on each side. We're just working really nice and slowly, sliding the hands down over the shin, squeezing, and the more times, the more you repeat these little moves, the easier they'll become, the stronger you become, the more flexible you become, and a greater sense of all-round well-being. So all of these things there at your disposal. So we're going to take the feet a little wider now, and the toes slightly out to the sides, and we're going to lift up through the crown. Take a breath in and drop the chin down to the chest, and then roll your way all the way down, and let your arms hang now, just like a rag doll. Make sure you're nicely connected with the chair so you don't slip off. Let the head hang. We're in a forward fold. We're also working into the hips a little bit here. And when you're ready, push down away from the floor, and if you want to, you can take your hands onto the thighs. And a little option here before you come up, if you want to, is to drop the shoulder down and look over the other side, the other shoulder, doesn't matter which one, and then come back to center really slowly and drop the opposite shoulder and look across, look over your shoulder there, and back to center. So see if you can now stay here with a flat back, and if you want to, open out the arms to the side. Deep breath, and bring your hands back to the thighs and pushing up, coming back to a seated position, bringing the feet back to hip distance apart. There. All right, so keeping your hands placed on your thighs, or if you want to take the knees, you can do. We're going to tuck the chin down again and round through the spine. So if I show you from the side, it would look like this. So we're tucking the chin down and then rolling back. So we're rounding the spine there, and then we're going to lift back up to a seated position, but we're going to push the chest forwards and just lift the gaze a little. Breathe in when we're here, and then come back. We're going to do a few rounds of this. This is, in yoga, is called cat-cow. And we move with the breath. So we breathe out, because here we're closing that air space down, so that it's very difficult to get air in this position. So we breathe out. And here we're expanding, opening that space, ready to breathe in. Breathe out. So maybe close your eyes if that feels okay, and just move with your breath, just with the pattern of your breath, and notice what you're feeling in your body as you mobilize through the spine in whatever time pattern serves you. And this is a really good one to do when you wake up in the morning, really nice and slowly, just waking up the back of the body. So I'm going to come back to the center now, and you carry on with that until you feel ready to finish that one. And just taking that a little bit further now when you're ready, interlacing the fingers together and pushing the fingers and the hands away, and again rounding through the spine. So tucking that chin down into the chest and just pulling those shoulder blades apart from each other a little bit, just to expand through the top of the back this time. And when you're ready, taking hold of the sides of the chair and opening the chest and looking up and squeezing the shoulder blades together this time. And coming back to center, shake those arms out, shake the shoulders. Hold on to the chair again, maybe give those legs a little shake. And then coming back, let's bring ourselves all the way back onto our chair if we want to. If you want to stay sitting at the front of the chair, you can. Probably got longer legs than me, not dangling away there. So let's bring the hands together at the heart space. And feeling gratitude for this practice, for this day, for this body, for this breath. And maybe becoming a little bit more aware, a little bit more conscious of the breath that we have sitting there ready to use, and deciding to more often expand through that space and give ourselves the gift that comes from that expansiveness. And that being, you know, a whole new sense of well-being through calmness and clarity, through that deep breathing, or through a sense of being more energized through that greater breath, through the greater capacity that we're using, and you know, fueling those muscles better so that they don't get so tired so quickly. Okay, so we come to the close of another session, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Look after yourselves. Namaste.